Всем привет! Это Лондон, мы находимся в районе Челси. Мы подготовили эту замечательную модель Путина, чтобы провести социальный опрос среди местного населения и узнать, что они думают о России, о российском президенте и его политике. Давайте посмотрим, что из этого выйдет.
I think he's a strong guy. He loves his country.
Yeah, I don't know too much about him. I just think that he's kind of involved in some dodgy stuff, right? With America.
Vladimir Putin. Well, to be honest, I don't feel like I know enough about him to give any kind of informed or passionate opinion. I'm not sure about his politics, what he's done, what he's not done. So I don't think I could get too opinionated an opinion on him. I don't think. Yeah, but I mean, he seems like a good leader, but again, without knowing the specifics of what he's done in his time in power, I wouldn't be able to comment probably. Yeah.
Ну, я думаю, что он диктатор, плохой президент, убийца, тиран, не знаю, как еще сказать. Негативно к нему отношусь. Мне не нравится Путин. Он убил большую часть моего народа. Очень много моих, граждан моей страны, которые находятся в оккупации в России. Ну, я так считаю, это мое мнение, Да. Я считаю, что Чечня должна быть независимой.
He shows himself very well. He's good image. He shows himself to be a strong man. Fast cars, nice life. He's showing.
Do you know who you're talking about?
Vladimir Putin, 100%.
Russian
president.
I think he's an asshole.
Oh wow!
If I can say that.
I'm saying what he shows himself as. He shows himself as a nice guy, but I don't know much about what goes on the inside. People are suffering.
Well, if people are suffering and he's president, then he's obviously doing a problem.
Okay.
So he thinks he's a nice guy.
No, he shows himself to be a nice guy. Shows himself having a nice life, but his people are suffering. So
I think if he has a nice life and the people are suffering, that shows a lot by his character.
Fair enough.
And my grandparents are Russian, so yeah. And the whole for me, because I work in advertising, Russia's quite a few years behind in terms of belief. And I feel like he's not setting an example of helping that belief move forward with the world moving forward. So my problem with him is that he's not about today, he's just about his own. He's very stubborn, in my opinion.
Yeah, true, I understand. But again, a bit of respect in the sense that he doesn't follow the rest of the countries, he sticks to his own, what he does. He doesn't follow America like the rest of the world, he sticks to his own guns. But yeah, I respect him for that sense.
Most of the opinion, is driven by what is shown in the media, right? I don't know the man personally, right? What I know about is what I've seen on YouTube, what I've seen in the news, and to be honest, right, a politician is a politician, whether you're a communist, whether you're a liberal, whether you're conservative, at the end of the day you are a politician, right? There are hardly few politicians in the world who have got the best interest of their people in their hearts and minds.
So, what do you think about Putin?
Well, I'm concerned with Russia. I'm old enough to remember in November 1989 when the wall came down and just the freedom, the whole idea of the peace dividend and all the optimism about Russia becoming, all those countries becoming proper democracies. And then you've just sort of gradually watched it erode, and now, the opposition leader's in prison, the free press is being destroyed.
I really hate him for what he done in Syria. It's like he occupied Syria completely.
I don't know that much about Vladimir Putin. I think probably have the opinion that is portrayed of him in the media, which is that he's very macho, leader of Russia, that his leads a corrupt sort of government, and that's all the opinion I have of him, because that's what I see in the media.
Russia, I think it's an amazing country, too big, yeah. But yeah, politically, I cannot say a word on it because it's not my specialty. But I think that Putin is a good guy for Russian, I think.
Yeah,
But in terms of the overall politics, I'm not sure about that.
So I don't really have too much of an opinion on Russia. I know that
I know that it's obviously very different to the UK and stuff. I've never been. I don't really know any Russian people.
Right.
But I know they've got some weird laws like about homosexuality and stuff. I'm pretty sure. I don't really know. I'm not that educated.
About Russia?
Yep.
I'd like to visit it. I've heard it's great. I mean, the few Russian people I know are cool, confident people. I mean, I know it's a very big country and like a lot of diverse people. But yeah, I don't know much about the politics. More that it's a beautiful country, big country, cultured. So positive opinion on Russia, but yeah, not necessarily the government per se, just because I don't know. Yeah.
Думаю, Россия отсталая страна. Если все так будет продолжаться, лучше не будет. Страна третьего мира, или как это говорит. Вот так вот я думаю о России.
It's the biggest country in the world, and they're so taken away from if you look at America, for example, America's huge, and America shows its development in today's society, whereas Russia, I feel are 20 years behind. The fact that it's still illegal to be gay in Russia is beyond me, as an example. They're very they keep to their own, if that makes sense. And for myself, I would love to go to Russia because I have family in Russia and I'm part Russian, but I'm too scared because of the way
especially
it's
me
portrayed.
Myself being black as well.
See,
yeah, that's another thing. I'd be scared to go to Russia.
See,
I'm not going to Russia.
Exactly. So that in itself should tell you there's a problem in Russia. But yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I think I have one of my best friend from Russia, and she's lived with us for 2-3 months in India. She was really disciplined. I think the Russian people are really disciplined. They are very friendly if they open up to you, I think, and they're very hardworking. I think that is something I love about Russian people and the culture. They're also
my experience of interacting with Russian people or people from that region is that they're really hardworking.
Yes.
Right. They're very proud people. Proud not in a negative sense, right? They like their culture, they like their language, they like their ways. It's their way of life, right?
Well, as I said, the people are amazing. They're very educated people, and they've got a good, fantastic work ethic. And obviously, they've got massive resources and massive weapons. But it's just a shame, that the government is going the wrong way.
I don't have a big idea about them, but I think they are normal people. Only the leaders in this part of the world, they are bad, as always.
About Russia?
Yeah, in general.
I think, I don't know, again, similar to Putin, from what I see in the media is that it's a corrupt state, and yeah, at the government level, there's a lot of things happening that are sort of underhand, and things like when they came to Salisbury and there was the attack. That's sort of the sort of things you hear about Russia in the media. Also that for the Football World Cup a few years ago, there was a big conflict between the English fans and the Russian fans. So there's conflict there, and yeah, those are the sorts of things I hear about Russia. But also, I think the other thing I hear is that there's a bit of a misconception about Russia, and from Russian people that I've met, they've tried to explain that Russia is not exactly what is portrayed in the media here. So I try to, not listen sort of 100% to everything that I hear.
Yeah, there's always black and white, and
right.
I think Russian is versus Russian versus the US, and it have been a lot of years that you have the two poles, but yeah, hopefully in one day they will gather in one side. But
I think obviously definitely a very big one.
Yeah.
Obviously being involved in the US elections.
I see. Yeah.
And the supposed tampering, which I don't know if that's real or not. But I think
don't know too.
Yeah, I think it plays a very big role politically in the workings of the world. It's one of the big powers.
Foreign policy. Yeah, as I said, I'm not that politically aware. I know that, obviously they're a global superpower, so I'm assuming they have, some kind of influence generally. I don't know the extent to which they meddle with, international policy, other countries, but hello, little man. Yeah, all I know is that they're a superpower, but what they do with that power, I'm not certain. Yeah.
Ну, внешняя политика, она роль играет большую, мне кажется, чисто из-за того, что, типа, ядерная держава. Да, она, большой игрок. Внешняя политика.
They should play a bigger role as such a bigger country, but the role they play, they're more to the side. They're not with America. They're not working with other countries. They just do their own thing. And
I think they have a big role in politics, actually, in my opinion, because Russia in itself, like, there's 100 million people in Russia, as an example, and like, if their say is not heard, there will be the Cold War, for example, against America. Like, it's just an example of how much power Russia has and how much power Russia holds. I don't know if they're as forward-coming in terms of what their true beliefs are, but I know they have a massive impact in politics.
Yeah, I would say, like, I understand with the Cold War and that, but they didn't really do much for say.
They didn't do much in the Cold War?
They done a lot, but they didn't really do much as they should do. They were just really...
But this is the thing, I feel like they threatened with a lot that they could do, which in itself...
But they didn't do much.
They said they were going to bomb up America.
But they didn't do it.
Okay.
Yeah, they didn't do it. And also, fact check that 100 million people.
It's 100 million.
Okay.
I've worked with Russia clients. It's 100 million people in Russia. Well,
under what I'm here, you're going to see the fact check of the exact number.
Sorry.
Very important role. Very, very important role. Russia as a country, as a nation, should not be ignored, right, on the world stage, right? At the end of the day, it's a massive country, right? Big population, right? They were the front runners when it came to arms, the space race with the Americans back when Kennedy was the president.
And the military.
The military is again, right, going back to what I said earlier, India and Russia have had a brilliant relationship when it comes to, right, exchange of information, when it comes to the research and development in arms and ammunition, and even the various rehearsals and practices that both the armies conduct with each other. And the role that Russia played in the civil war in Syria, where President Obama decided not to take any action, right, again, going by what I've heard in the news and read in the newspapers, right, I believe Russia was the first country, I could be wrong, but I believe one of the first countries that intervened, and their intervention did make a difference, right, in the slow and steady, right, depreciation of ISIS, right? So their role on the world stage can never be ignored.
Well, it plays a big role because of its military, but otherwise as an economy, it's a shrinking economy because it's been badly run. But as a military force, it's very important. But otherwise, economically, it's not. And that's purely the fault of the government, because they should be doing a lot better and a lot bigger.
From Iraq, so it's affecting us very bad, either because they support Iran, and of course.
From all I know is that, you hear on the news from different wars that Russia's playing a part in potentially aiding certain countries or certain wars, and usually they're on the opposite side to the West. So there's, tension between the West and Russia.
I mean, yeah. I think Russians are part of Europe. I think they are part both in Europe and Asia, because it's too wide, it's too big. So
right.
Yeah, you can say that the west side of Russia is European, the east side of Russia is Asian.
Yeah, I think so. I actually never thought about it if it's technically in Europe before, but yeah, no. If I think of Russia, I'd say it's European.
Right.
A European country.
Yeah.
Do you know if they're in Eurovision? Russia.
I think
Do they participate?
Yeah.
I feel like any country in Eurovision to me is European. Yeah. So that's my stance. Yes. Russia's my next destination. Thank you.
Okay.
Не, она может на карте Европа, но в целом она вообще не Европа. Даже близко. Права человека нарушаются везде, всегда. Там, не знаю, полиция, там есть, преступность. Какая Европа, вы чё?
Yes, but I know it's not, if I'm right in thinking that.
Yeah.
No.
Not,
Oh, you guys
they're
can't.
in Asia. They're not in
They're
Europe.
not in Europe, are they?
But I was shocked to find out.
I would say, yeah, me too. I was shocked to find out that Russia's not in Europe.
I believe they're more European than Asian.
Because if you think about, like, I'm not comparing Russians to like Polish, but like Ukraine, though that
it got the same.
I would
vibe.
he said the vibe. I would have assumed that they're from like the same region,
Right.
and not separated them. Because I would never put them next to Asia as a country, especially with their beliefs and the way they operate.
I'd say definitely European.
Yeah,
Deep down.
yeah.
Deep down.
They are European, but obviously
They don't want to be.
on the paper they're not. Yeah.
No, I think like India, Russia is more Asian than European. So I know there's always this talk about whether it's Asia or Europe or Eurasia. Various cultures, ethnicities, difference in lifestyles, the way people dress, the way people, different dialects. I think I'm going to go with Asia.
Yeah, me too.
I would consider Russia to be more part of Asia than Europe.
Yes, definitely.
I think it's probably a country of many parts. So obviously the western side is slightly more, the people you meet in the west tend to be more Western, but obviously it's a big country, so it's probably got a very diverse. So I think Russia is Russia. But it could have the best parts of the West, which is with its own history.
This is not for me to say. I'm not sure about that. It's all about people. I mean, if these presidents go, maybe, but with Putin in power, I don't think so. Not a good idea.
Yeah, I do, because they're in Europe, even though they're a massive country.
Yep.
I do consider them a European country, but they obviously have their own culture and politics, and they're independent within themselves. But so's I think somewhere like England, Great Britain is sort of a bit independent of Europe. Well, with Brexit especially now, but Russia is similar to that in that they're a part of Europe, but they're also a massive country with very sort of their own culture, history, and politics.
Can you tell us where you're from, please?
I'm from Southampton.
They're like.
I'm Iranian, so.
I'm German, Russian, and Nigerian.
Oh, that's.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm Nigerian, straight.
Nigerian.
Through.
But we live in London, so yeah.
Like you're from India, right?
Yes, correct.
But you live here.
Yeah,
Yes.
we work here and obviously live here.